Here comes Nina.
Hey everyone, I'm just gonna move this. I'm gonna pace back and forth because that's what I do. That's how I talk. If I could do a little quick introduction before I actually start and then give an awkward finger guns or something when I want to start, that'd be great. My name, not gonna happen. So my name isn't Nina Elizabeth, that's my Facebook name. My name is Nina Medoff, not related to Bernie at all. And I'm a MPP MSW student here at UChicago. Last year was at SSA, this year is at Harris, and next year is both. And if I haven't talked to you or you haven't met me, you definitely heard me because I'm the girl that won't shut up in the basement. I am usually talking to people about not doing a P-set and just saying fuck the P-set, or trying to convince people to watch football with me, don't do it, or trying to convince people to play football with me. Shout out to those who did this fall. And yeah, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why I'm that way, why I came to Harris, and kind of tie it into a policy issue that I think is pretty important. So, awkward finger guns. Thank you. So it all starts with my family. I grew up with an Eastern European Jewish father and an Italian mother, and so if you know anything about either of those cultures, you know it was insane. I grew up with about 30 family members coming to each holiday, and it was loud, it was crazy, and now I interrupt people not because I want to or I'm trying to be rude, but because that's how you were heard. Like, literally, I would have to claw my way in. So that's what I do. And it was nuts, but it was amazing. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this, I'm sorry. It was nuts, but it was the best upbringing I could have ever had, and I'm convinced about that. My family means the world to me. Yeah, that's all of them. No, it's not all of them, actually. We have tons of branches. My family means the world to me. They are the most important thing in my life, and I would not be standing here today without them. And growing up from an early age, because of them, I learned certain, Joseph's gonna kill me. I learned certain values that I think are super important, like honesty, loyalty, love, acceptance, all the down-to-earth values that some people don't even get to learn in life. So I was very lucky, but I am here to talk about one person in particular who influenced my life, which is my father. Both of my parents were amazing. Growing up, my father was the dad that everyone wanted to hang out with. Actually, my brother's best friend used to come over and hang out with him, not my brother. And that was a norm. And I always heard how great of a man my father was. That's my favorite picture of me and my brother. I always heard how great of a man he was, and he was just one of those guys that you don't get enough of. Like one of those people that you really, like, there's not enough people in those world. He's also the reason for this. As most of you know that do know me, I'm a crazy Patriots fan, but we're not all insane. No, we are. But it's tied a lot to our history. So I grew up going to Patriots games and Celtics games, Bruins games with my father, who took me, and it was awesome, and he taught me about the history of everything. I'm definitely going to go over. But he also taught me that I could do anything, and Batman is also my favorite, as Julian knows, and so that's my favorite meme. But he taught me that I could do anything in the world, and that it didn't occur to me until later on that because I was a woman, that some people would look down on me or not think I could do anything. But I had two brothers, so Star Wars was my first movie. My favorite movie series of all time is Lord of the Rings. And I watched Dragon Ball Z growing up, and that's what I did. And he was a fantastic father in every way. He raised me and my brothers. He told them that he told us that he loved us all always. And he was like an emotional dad. He was not the kind of bullshit like dad that was not emotional and was like, oh, I must put up a tough front. He told us that it was okay to be in tune with our emotions and that it's okay to show them and you can still be secure. And he was awesome. He was just overall the best dad. And so you can imagine how devastated I was when I lost him in 2014, suddenly in April. Mic drop. So, besides the grief, like putting aside my sadness and everything that happened to me, my employer told me, not my bosses, my employer told me that I had 3 days to deal with this, 3 days of bereavement leave. Now, if any of you have gone through grief, that's insane, because I'm still dealing with it today. And it just impacts you in a way that you would not realize. And I dealt with this in so many ways. They told me I had 3 days. 3 days to bury my father, 3 days to deal with this financially, 3 days to figure out all the things that he did around the house that we had no idea how to do or that he even did. 3 days to figure out how my relationships were changing. I had a long-term relationship at the time that ended that December that year, but really ended the year afterwards. And then it was just a hot, emotional mess after that. I had 3 days to realize how my relationships with my family were changing. Because all of a sudden, instead of Nina, I became this person that was a constant reminder of my father. We have the same nose and their sadness. 3 days. I had 3 days to figure out why I was waking up, and even though I was fine, I was exhausted and couldn't get out of bed. I had 3 days to figure out why my memory, and this is not an exaggeration, was equivalent to a 90-year-old that has dementia. So, 3 days. Now, my bosses were fantastic. My bosses, instead of my employer, told me I could take all the time that I needed. But it would either be unpaid or I would have to use my own time, which was also my vacation and my sick time, so I either couldn't go on vacation, couldn't be sick, or had to go to work in this emotional mess which happened. Or I, oh God, I'm so behind. I didn't get paid. And then a couple of years went by, and it happened. I went to work in this grief, and I went to work, and some days I would just stare at the screen, and I thought about the people that don't have the opportunity to do that. I'm a middle-aged, Jesus, no. I'm a 28. I am a middle-class white girl who has the opportunity to take those unpaid days. So behind. Sorry, I'm just gonna finish up quick. But what about the people that didn't? What about the mothers that had to take care of their children? Or the people that just really did not have the opportunity to take unpaid days? So, back to my other slides, which already went by. Turns out the average leave is 3 to 5 days for bereavement, which just doesn't make sense, and economically it doesn't make sense either. You will have seen that we lose $75 billion with a B dollars a year on faulty bereavement policies and grief, just lack of grief knowledge in the workplace, and it doesn't make sense economically. And money is all that America cares about, right? So why the hell are we doing this? 2 things I can think of. One is it relates to the old, work or you're not worthy policy, or not policy value, that kind of stems back to the 1890s and poverty policy and welfare policy, and then stems into the Industrial Revolution. That's another Pechakuchi talk I'll save for later. 2 is because we don't know how to talk about it, right? When I said dead dad, everyone was like, shit, why is she bringing this up? No, but we don't know how to talk about it. And so, why am I bringing this up to all of you? This is something that I don't want to talk about and wouldn't talk about probably one-on-one to any of you. And it's something that I don't talk about to many people. So, as crazy as Harris is, as insane and backbreaking and stressful as it is, they are absolutely right about one thing, which is that all of you, and me I guess, but like all of you really are the policy leaders of the future. I have seen you work on P-sets that I wouldn't know how to do at all and finish. I've seen you coordinate and get governors, senators, mayors to come talk to us, very important people. And I've seen you land jobs all across the globe, and in California and DC that are unreal. I know. All right, so point is, why am I up here to talk to you today? When you're making those decisions and when you are in those positions to make a change in this, I hope you think back and remember this talk where I not only explained why I'm so crazy and why I think fuck the peace out because life is too short, or I don't deal with any bullshit or bullshit people or whatever. I hope you look back and think of the opportunity that all of us have when you have the opportunity to make these decisions, which you will, to save so many people from so much hurt at a time that I can guarantee is the worst time in their lives. Thank you. One question, who's gonna be? Nobody? Wow. Really? Nobody, guys? Come on, one question.
What was your dad's name?
Eric.
Thank you.
Yeah.